is always my favorite. I don't know if you were watching me closely, hopefully you were watching the person winning, but I tear up, and I don't care, even if I write the speech, I just tear up, because for me, as a parent, that's the piece that connects. My heart is involved in this tremendously. Obviously, I do this free of charge, take all the blame, pick up not speaking and all that, free of charge. I do it because I want my children to have the same advantages as any other child out there in the world. And so when I hear that a team has worked together and they've provided that opportunity, and that young adult has a quality of life similar to any other young adult, to me, obviously it touches the heart. So I want to introduce Ms. Donna Owens, my co-president, and she's going to say a few words.
When we divvied up our responsibilities, of course, Dee introduced the keynote speaker yesterday, and so I was supposed to introduce our keynote speaker today, who will introduce all of the speakers that we're going to hear. And so I get to introduce one of my favorite people. Her name is Laura Owens, and she is the executive director of the National Advocacy Organization, of which we are a state affiliate. And she is in the position, working with all the states, to get a lot of information, a wealth of knowledge about the Employment First Initiative and about the successes in other states across the nation. So she has a wealth of knowledge for us. Now, in addition to that, she is an associate professor or assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, where her courses focus on inclusion for students with disabilities and transition from school to work. And in addition to that, she started a business in 1991 called Creative Employment Opportunities that provides employment opportunities and employment matches and career advancement for people with disabilities. So you can see that her knowledge base is really deep. And so her name is Owens and mine is Owens, although we are not family. I would love to claim her. So Laura, I will let you come and introduce our next session. Thank you.
I would also love to be your relative. I think we look kind of alike, so we could probably pass for something. So I'm thrilled to see so many people here on the second day, because I too was at the bar for a little bit, and I saw many of you there. But I'm meeting a lot of new people, and I love coming to these conferences because I meet so many wonderful people who are doing such fantastic things, and really showing that we can help people with disabilities have a quality of life, the same life that the rest of us have. And so today, I am really thrilled and excited to be able to facilitate your keynote with two wonderful guests, because these guests are really people who tell the story, because it's about their story. This is why we do what we do, but it's really about their story, and that's what's going to make the difference. Both of these two amazing young adults have had to overcome a lot of obstacles, more obstacles than the rest of us have had to go through. And fortunately for them, they have been able to sort of gather a really good, strong team of supports. Because what I always say is that we are all supported employees and we all have customized jobs. We all, as people without disabilities, have a great team that we've put together. And so it's so important that these young adults have found that great team. So the first person that I want to introduce, to help you understand that every person in this room, you, the person next to you, the person behind you, can make a difference in the lives of individuals with disabilities, is Matt Cartwright. Matt Cartwright was diagnosed with a mild intellectual disability. When he was 10 years old, he was struck by a car while he was riding his bike near his home. As a result of the accident, he suffered a traumatic brain injury. Matt deferred graduation from Bath local schools in order to participate in the Transition to Work program at St. Rita's Medical Center for the 2007-2008 school year. Throughout his time at the Transition Center, Matt's interest was developed, and he found a really strong interest in working in the food service field. And he realized that his ultimate goal was to become a chef. Before the end of the 2008 school year, he was hired as a dishwasher at the Olive Garden, and he's still there. He works between 10 and 15 hours a week because he's going to school to reach his dream of becoming a chef. He currently attends the Apollo Career Center, which is part of the Lorraine Community College. Matt knows the importance of improving his abilities in order to achieve his goals. He began working with his team to receive assistance, returning to school, and he is going to obtain that degree in culinary arts and become a chef. So it's my pleasure to introduce Matt Cartwright.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Matt Cartwright. I'm here to share my story and my disabilities that I have overcome. So, okay, a brief description. As a child, I did have a mild case of MR. It was more of a learning disability for me on the way I learned and stuff. This was before my accident that I had when I was 10. Of course, after the accident, I had a traumatic brain injury from getting hit by a car. But that didn't slow me down, of course. And I would have... we'll go back to the names of my people in my family are Jenny, my sister, Kenneth Cartwright, my dad, Linda, my mom. And as a child with a disability, I did see obstacles like reading and stuff, which we'll get into that more on how I've overcome that. But I will briefly talk about the accident because there's not much I can remember about the accident personally. But they didn't think I would ever be able to do much afterwards. But I proved them wrong. I made it. So I did have a broken right leg, a left leg when that happened. And it may have slowed me down, but I've overcome them, and we'll just kind of get into where I went to school. I went to back pretty much my whole entire life until the last 2 years of school. I went to Apollo Career Center. And while I was there in school, I would sometimes struggle with understanding things like other people would. Maybe in a harder way than what normal people would, which I think we're all normal in our own ways, and we're created differently. But I mean, I would learn and look at different ways I could make myself understand it better. And I started understanding that once I graduated, I needed help doing some stuff to get into my future. And some of those disabilities was getting my reading and stuff improved. And so when I graduated high school, I went to St. Rita's Medical Center to a transition to work program through Apollo and Allen County Board of DD. And at St. Rita's, I helped unload the stock that was coming in for their cafeteria. I then would help get food items prepped. Sorry, I'm still coming over a cold, so cut it out. And then I just kind of worked with them people side by side. And they really mentored me, showed me how to do things quicker, and work on my goals and being a chef. And I really found his passion. And at St. Rita's, they let me make a hummingbird cake that I had found out of a cookbook that I like to look at, which we sold there at the cafeteria. We did a macaroni and taco salad that we sold at the cafeteria that I helped make. And then from there, about maybe 6 months in on that program, and I was finding my interest in this food service industry, which of course helped me build my self-confidence, teaching me my strengths and my skills, giving me the experience in the field. And the ways I benefited from this is because people were always there supporting me. Even if I made a mistake, they wouldn't, be mean about it. They would just help me correct it and show me a different way I can do it. And I put my mind to this, getting a job and stuff, and so I went out with Jeff Ducey, which I'll introduce to you later. And we went out for interviews, and I had a few interviews, and I put an application in at the Olive Garden. Well, we didn't hear anything from the Olive Garden for a while. And I had an interview that week with Texas Roadhouse, but I then got this phone call, and they said, we want to interview you. And I went ahead and did the interview. And Pam and me talked. Pam was the one that hired me in the March of 2007. So I talked briefly how Pam hired me. She wanted to see what my disabilities were. She didn't hardly see any disabilities, which most of my disabilities are hidden. And I got that phone call that said, we want to hire you. And they hired me as a dishwasher. I then quickly moved on to bread baking. And I then moved to busing, and then they moved me on to hosting. And then I started becoming a salad maker. And when I was there, probably back before I even started busing, I became a certified trainer for the Olive Garden, which means we just train new people coming in, how we operate the restaurant and stuff. So I was able to do that. And they gave me more courage to do more things. And by Olive Garden giving me the help and Marimore helping me in my life, it helped me very tremendously. As you can see on the PowerPoint here, Jeff Ducey was my job developer. He's the one that started out with helping me to get the job. And then I had job coaching, which was Cody. He was with me at the Olive Garden, but I had job coaching at St. Rita's too. Now, Cody wasn't with me very long. I was probably maybe one of the very shortest ones they had to help because I had good skills. And he would just be there to, if I needed any questions, if I didn't remember something, he'd be right there instead of me having to hunt somebody down. He was always there to support me, teach me ways to do what I do now. And I think because of the services that were provided to me through Allen County Board, it helped me because if I went out there to get that job by myself, I mean, true, I don't think I could have did it. I'd have been a nervous wreck. And their services, like with the job coaching, was so amazing how I take the skills that I learned from that today, and I still use them, and I take those skills and then pass them on to somebody new that's coming into our restaurant, working in our industry, so that they can get the skills. And I've had the opportunity to work with more people getting hired in at the Olive Garden in Lima, Ohio, that had disabilities. And I've seen how different people have disabilities, which we all know that, but I managed to give them the courage to move on from the position that they are in now. And I've shown them how I succeeded. This is how I did it. Maybe this will work for you, or maybe you can do this, or will this help you? And I can pass that on to them, giving them that hopeful hand to something that maybe they want to learn on their own. And I had a case manager, SSA is what they call him, was Josh Smith, and he also helped me when I needed things like outside of work, if I needed the services for like transportation before I had my driver's license and stuff. If there was anything important that I needed to do and I didn't have time right then, maybe he could look in for me, get those services to me so I knew what was available to me. And Amy Klinger, we'll talk about her more later. She's currently my DRP3 coordinator for my schooling, which we're still working on that, and just to help me pay for school. And as I said earlier, I had a reading disability, but because of Miramar, I was able to find the Literacy Council of Northwest Ohio, which is in Lima. It is a great nonprofit organization. I can't say how much I'm so thankful for that service they provided to me for free. Because that is what helped me to make the decision to go back to school, even if I still struggle with this situation. Because of them, I had better skills than what I did when I graduated high school. I'm not saying that high school is the path and I've lost those abilities. I have those abilities, but they might be a little rusted, but that happens when you're out of school for so long. But they really helped me with my reading. And they were so generous. And stuff. I mean, it's just out of this world. And my tutor has really seen me. She's seen me go from not doing very well to awesome. To where all I have trouble with is maybe big gigantic words, which we all do usually. Especially in the culinary field, which I'm in now, because we have French words we have to pronounce, and I'm just like, why can't we stick to English? But so as I was going through all this, I started having a lot of stress, of course, which we all have stress. And I started getting ways to manage that. I called Josh, maybe talk to him, even Cody would be there to talk to him. I didn't really talk to Jeff too much, but he came in every once in a while and I talked to him when he was there. But he is the one that got me started, so he does deserve credit there, that's for sure. And to talk about some things that I did on my own without Miramar, but they were there, they were my back support. Maybe they're like, okay, well, if you need help with this, we're here. They always were. But on my own, I found a retirement plan. I bought my own car, but I did not want to pay car payments. So I saved my money up and I paid my car fully in cash. It may not be the greatest and the newest, but it still gets me to point A to point B. And I then, being at the Olive Garden, was able to, my sister wanted to go see the Discovery launch, the last launch of the Discovery. So she wanted to go to Florida. I had some money saved back. And I said, sure, I need a vacation from the Olive Garden for a while. So we took a trip to Florida, went to Walt Disney World and all that, and that was awesome. To have that relaxing time, get stress relief. Another trip I took maybe 2 or 3 years after my Florida trip was I have a passion for baking. And I've always really wanted a KitchenAid stand mixer. So I found out that there was the KitchenAid factory right here in Ohio. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I'm like, I told my mom, I said, I got it booked. I said, we're going down to Greensville. And we went down and we took a trip to the Godot factory for KitchenAid stand mixers. And I managed to buy myself a stand mixer, which I'll just briefly go over this because it's an amazing story how I did this. This will tell you how money conscious I am, even if I don't have a lot of money right now, because of my situation with going to school and dealing with things. I always look for bargains. I will try every bargain I can. $30 mail-in rebate for buying brand new. Well, they have a retail store that's discounted down in their basement to this retail store. I went my electric blue mixer. It was marked down as refurbished $229. So I said, okay, I'll take it because the brand new one costs $400. Who wants to pay $400 and get one for $229? I get to the cash register and the lady's like, well, do you have a AAA membership card? I said, yes, I do. She said, okay, it gives you 20% off. I just bought a KitchenAid stand mixer that would originally cost me $400 for $180. I was like, oh, where in the Lord did I manage that? Okay, so we'll move on about that. Okay, now we will talk about what my future holds for me. This is where I really want to more talk about my passion and my disability of overcoming things. And I'm definitely looking at now in college, totally different disabilities coming back to me when I struggle in that. I know I can get there even if I struggle in certain classes. I am currently at a culinary arts program at Apollo Career Center partnered with the Rain Community College. And my passion really started after my senior year of high school for culinary, so I didn't really know that's what I really wanted to do. But Miramore was always there. They said, whenever you're ready to go back, we're ready to be helping you. And so they managed to help me, and I thought I wasn't going to get in because this was only the second year that they offered for the adult program. And I had to take a test the day before they were going to tell you if you got in or not. And I was thinking, there's no way I'm getting in, there's no way, thinking negative, and I should have been thinking positive. And I got this awesome call. I had my dog with me, I was on the walk just outside before work, and I get this phone call, and they're like, this is the Rain Community College. I said, yes. And this is Matt Cartwright, and you're speaking to, and they said, well, we are glad to let you know that you are now a the Rain Community College student. And I was totally floored. I'm like, I cannot believe my future is really about to change before me. And possible challenges I might have ahead is passing the class. But with Miramore and the VRP-free services, they're always there willing to help me with my disability any way they can. If I need a tutor or something, they'll get it for me. I just gotta get myself in gear to get it done. But I can see some struggles maybe where I may not catch on as fast as some people may. But once I get it, I can pretty much do anything I put my mind to. which I think anybody with a disability can. But my passion for this is so driven into this culinary program. I've already found out so much information about food, and I never even personally knew, like, I watch Food Network now, and they make things that, I'm like, I know what that is now. It's like, I didn't realize there was a name to it, but, you know. It's so amazing in the culinary world how hospitality really, like Miramore gives you hospitality. You know, I'm in like the same industry, looking at the same industry, how we can all help each other. In the culinary field, you're working as a team, and that's what I really like, because even if I had a person, I own my own restaurant one day, which is a bakery, I would most certainly hire somebody with a disability because I see potential in a person with disability. My ultimate goal, of course, is what I said earlier, is owning my own bakery with this culinary business degree that I'm going to receive. Which I hope that happens, which we'll see, which I know it can if I put my mind to it. We'll just go over a few great pictures. The first one on the left side is me before my car accident. That's actually a bicycle before the accident, of course. That is the bicycle I got hit by a car on. And then the other picture is just a picture of me probably when I was back in elementary school. I'd probably say that was about around the time I got hit by a car, which was 10 years of age. So that will give you a brief look at this. Here's my favorite, is my mom, dad, and me. My sister, me in Florida. Now, these are articles. Let me flip here. This one article is in the newspaper from when I got hired at the Olive Garden. It's on the left side of the screen. It's me handing dessert to Pam. Unfortunately, Pam couldn't be here today, so I haven't seen her forever. She don't work at the Olive Garden that I work at now. But then the newspaper article I got in the Lima News. That's a photo of that. And then Miramore in 2009 awarded me the Man of the Year award. So that's Josh Smith and me, my case manager. Unfortunately, Cody couldn't be there, but he gets credit too, because he counts too. This is Pam and me at the banquet for Man of the Year, and she received the Employer of the Year award. Now I'll just show you a few brief things here. At the Literacy Council, there is my tutor and me. As you can see in the middle picture of the three pictures on the side. And at the Literacy Council, for me to give back to them, because they're a nonprofit organization, at the time I was able to donate them 2 e-readers, which were Kindles, so that I do not stop giving to them, because this will help them to help people with disabilities to read better. Or anybody that walks in the door. This is me at school. You can't really see what's in the pot. That was duck stock we did last week. We're just now starting to get into the good part of school. This is a photo of my group at school. And we're just getting our vegetable stock started there. And Pam could not be here, of course, today to sum this up, so we will have Jeff Juicy do that in a little bit, a speech from her. But as an employer, which most of you probably look like you are employers, if you are looking to hire somebody with a disability, don't hesitate, give them a try. Even if they are slow to start with, give them a try because you will be amazed what a person with a disability can do. They can do way more no matter what their disability is. I don't care what their disability is, there's something they can do for you. It can help you tremendously, and it can make them feel good about themselves and help their future to grow. So, without further ado, I will introduce Jeff Ducey.
Well, first, for one thing, what a wonderful story, right? I'm going to read something. Pam Goodrich is the general manager of, she was the general manager of the Lima location in Lima, Ohio. She's been transferred a few years ago. She went down to Parkersburg, West Virginia, where she's currently the general manager. She was invited here today, and yesterday I received a text message from her saying that she had to be in Orlando at their corporate headquarters for a big meeting. So she was able to send me some short notes about Matt and his time that she's got to know him. So I'll read this and try not to choke up while I'm doing it. So, Matt, today I wish I could be there to see this very proud moment. The first moment I met Matt was inspiring. I had set him up for an interview to come in, and then I sat there in front of him and proceeded with an interview that I will remember for a lifetime. Matt wanted to work for the Olive Garden, and when I asked him what his long-term goal was, he replied, "I want to go to culinary art school and be a head chef." I was amazed. After several more questions and answers, actually I was at that interview and it was more like an hour. I sent him home saying I would give him a call with my final decision. Later on that evening, I called him and offered him the job. I truly felt his commitment through this. I truly felt his commitment through the phone. Matt started the utility position and quickly moved on with gaining knowledge in other departments in our culinary area. Within 6 months of his dedication and pride for doing it right the first time, Matt was offered a certified trainer position. And those are not given out very lightly there at Olive Garden. You definitely do have to show a passion for the Olive Garden way, and the Olive Garden way is when you're there, your family. And Matt definitely showed that. So he accepted, and I knew he would continue to excel. Matt worked his way to the dining area, learning the busser position and then the host position. Matt was an asset to our family at Olive Garden. I am proud of all the accomplishments Matt has set and has followed through with. He will always be my inspiration. I thank him for everything he gave the Olive Garden family. I thank this guy up here for bringing him to me that special day. The dedication of all the people who work at the Allen County Board of DD, and to everyone who gave him a chance to make their way and have a sense of security. I wish I was there today in person. Today celebrates those who have accomplished so much. To reach out to everyone and to show him how incredible life can be with those surrounding us who truly care. Matt, I thank you for your smile every day, your laughter that fills a room, and your goals that you are well on your way to achieving. You have a special place in my heart. Pam, a.k.a. Pamela Goodrich, General Manager, Olive Garden, Parkersburg, West Virginia. Thank you.
Holy cow. I just want to give you another round of applause, Matt, because getting up in front of all these people is amazing. Most people can't do that, including me sometimes. So that was like the best story I've ever heard. I mean, it really, really was. I mean, when you think about it, the quality of life that Matt has created for himself with the team of people around him. But I have no doubt that you will have your own bakery someday. And when you do, please let me know because I love bakery. and the fact that I can't cook at all and that I actually burned hard-boiled eggs, I mean, I just commend you. So congratulations to you. I think just his story is so powerful for so many reasons. It's not just a job, it's a career. We're moving into, just not dishwashing, but now you're going on to become a chef, to get your culinary degree. It's about the things you learned from your job coach that you actually then learned to coach your colleagues who are out there. I just think that story is phenomenal, and thank you for sharing it. Fantastic. So our next guest is Marina Marks, and Marina was born with fetal alcohol effects. And shortly after moving in with her adoptive mother, was diagnosed with an intellectual disability, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, oppositional defiance disorder, and a communication disorder. Holy cow, wow, that's a lot of obstacles, and that's a lot of labels to attach to people. Marina, with much support from her school team and family, was able to successfully complete her graduation requirements for high school. She decided to defer her graduation for 1 year in 2011 to participate in Project Search because she wanted to better prepare herself for her employment. Marina's presentation will focus on how discovery, getting to know individuals, the right team, the ability to advocate for yourself, and having the right attitude all played a role in leading to her being successfully employed at Camp Bow Wow, which is a doggy daycare in Hilliard, Ohio, where she works 20 to 25 hours a week. She also drives to work, so it's an amazing story. So without further ado, Marina.
Hi, I'm Marina Marks, and I want to thank you for letting me share my story with you today. Okay. Once upon a time, I was this adorable 5-year-old little girl. Seriously. Seriously, look at my picture. Wasn't I just too cute? Pictures don't tell the whole story, though. At the time this picture was taken, I wasn't able to talk, I wasn't potty trained, and I had a lot of aggressive behavior against others. I was a sad, confused, and angry little girl. My family life was not good, and many of my behaviors are because of things my parents did to me. Shortly after this picture was taken, my auntie heard about what was happening to me. She hired people to help me be able to move in with her. Finally, in 1997, I moved to her house in Columbus, Ohio. We barely knew each other because my auntie wasn't close to my family. One of the first things that she did was paint a room for me in her house. She told me that this is my room and it was safe. No one was allowed going in it unless I let them. She let me go to the store and pick out a color to paint it. And being a girl, of course, I chose pink and white. This was the first time I had a room all to myself, but I wasn't ready for this room. I had never been taught to put myself to sleep. My auntie did a lot of things to help me get over my fears. Each night after she gave me a bath, read me a story, and said prayers with me, she would leave every light on in the house because I was afraid of the dark. She even left the basement light on, because I would scream if I saw the light was off. To begin to feel safer, she began turning off lights that weren't near my room. It took time, but after 6 months, I was able to sleep with only a night light in my bedroom. During this time, she took me to a lot of doctors because she knew something was wrong. I was like most 5-year-olds, and she wasn't sure how to help. After many tests, we found out some of my disorders that made it hard for me to learn, made it hard for me to trust people, made it hard for me to focus for long periods of time. Wow, no wonder I struggled at home and at school. We worked with the doctor doctors, teachers, and therapists for many years to help me with my problems. But when I was in middle school, it seemed much better, but I still had a hard time learning things. This would be with me for the rest of my life, so I had to learn to work harder to be successful. My Aunt Dee and I talked about adoption and how it would make me feel safer, because I had a mom who would take care of me. In 2005, I became her daughter. She became my new mom. This was probably the one thing in my life that made me feel the safest and most loved. My home life is good, but school was still hard for me. And the other students were learning different things. For me, I had to have a lot of accommodations to learn the same stuff. Sometimes I still wasn't able to understand what the class was learning. My mom told me this is how it would be for the rest of my life. She told me that if I worked 10 times harder than anyone else, I could be 10 times prouder of myself. She always was supportive and constantly involved in my school and community life. She had me join things to help me learn social skills, but these were fun things for me, like soccer and gymnastics. My mom was pretty smart because she told me that these are fun things that kids do. She never told me that I actually would be learning something. She could be pretty sneaky that way. She also could be firm. I did not like this when I was younger. But now that I know, she did the right thing. For example, I told her that I wanted to play the clarinet when I was in 6th grade. She told me that was a good idea, but if she bought me one, I had to play in band all the way through 8th grade too. Of course, at the end of 6th grade, I wanted to quit because it was hard. She reminded me that I promised to play until 8th grade and told me I wasn't allowed to quit until then. So glad that she pushed me because my absolute favorite thing about high school was being part of marching band. I was told people bands in my life. I also was in theater and still played soccer. All these things taught me discipline, teamwork, and responsibilities, things I needed in order to work. My junior and senior year, I went to Toulouse Current Technical Center for half day. I wanted to learn about small animals. I knew that I loved being around animals, and one day I wanted to work with them. For my senior year, my mom developed an internship position for me at Riverside Animal Care Center. She worked with the staff there to develop accommodations that I would need to be a vet tech intern. My mom, Dee Marks, can share about the experience.
Thank you, Miranda. Then I'll get ready to start reading the rest of her speech, which I don't want to do that. I gotta read my part. As Marina has indicated in her own way, she had to face many obstacles early in life. Not only to be successful at home, because as you've heard her say, her home life had been atrocious, and so she didn't know how to be part of a family. She did not know how to love someone. She did not know how to care about anyone. But also at school, she really, I can't even express, struggled. So much so that I was hesitant to even put her in school. But then we started thinking, what about employment? If I'm not even thinking about putting her in the school system, what does that mean for her future? When she moved in with me when she was 5, she was nonverbal. Can you believe that? Nonverbal, literally did not know the word water. Her vocabulary when we assessed her 6 months after I got her was less than 100 words, and she was 6.5 years old. Most students, or most children have that level before the age of 2. So that gives you an idea of where she was. She was extremely violent. That was the only course that she knew. She had lived in an abusive home. She had lived in a home where the mother was in abusive relationships. And literally, I would be called on a daily basis from preschool where she would beat the boy up on the playground because she was going to beat him up before they beat her up. So we had to work through those problems to be part of our community. She was also considered at that age the same developmentally as a 1-year-old. Her actual diagnoses are, because it'll blow you away when you hear these, fetal alcohol effects, ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, reactive attachment disorder, and a communication disorder. Even though I witnessed each part of this journey with her, I have to say, I'm going to tear up, sorry. It amazes me to see this young lady here. As you can tell, once her speech came, she took after me, and those around her rarely have a quiet moment. But each day I'm thankful for that, because I remember the days where it was all quiet. Marina was one of those kids in high school who had tons of personality, but due to her developmental delays, tended to seem much more immature than her peers. As a parent, her naive trust in others also created a huge safety concern. She literally had no stranger danger awareness. Concerned about how these social delays would affect her ability to be successful, I started to give serious thought on how to best support her as a parent. I decided that I would work to find her a meaningful internship placement while she was still in high school. Using various assessments and discovery process and talking with the team at school, we learned that Marina loved animals. We knew this. There's a picture of her with our dog at home. That's still our dog. We've been very fortunate. He's been alive for a long time. We knew that, but we also knew there were very significant deficits in her ability to understand how to work with co-workers, with other employers, with actual customers that would come in a professional manner. We also knew that we needed to figure out what accommodations would be warranted to allow her in a work setting to work independently in the future. Because I was determined she needed to have the least amount of support possible. I want her to have confidence in her abilities. For years, we had taken our dog, Sammy, to Riverside Animal Care Center for his annual vet checks. And since we already had a relationship with us, and how many times have you heard that in conferences? The relationship makes the difference, right? I decided I'd talk to them first. I met with Becky Marsh, who was our hiring manager, and we talked about opportunities that Riverside Animal Care Center offered for those internships. And at the time, they did offer internships, 6-month internships, which are awesome, but only to college students who were studying to be vet techs. I'm not one to give up easy, as most of you know, and so I said, hey, how about you interview Marina? Because it's a professional setting, it's a real-world setting, and she could use that practice. So we brought Marina in, we prepared an employment portfolio, and brought her in for that. And I was just hoping through the process, Becky might see the talents and the skills that Marina had and said, oh, I know this clinic down the street, she would be perfect for that. That was my final goal for that setting. However, Marina nailed this interview. She had so much enthusiasm in her honesty in answering the responses and her ability to communicate what her disability meant for her, but also what her skills and her talents were and how she could benefit the employer, won Becky over. Literally before we left the room, she said, I'm going to make this work. I'm offering her the internship. I was literally floored. I was surprised, but also as a parent, I was extremely proud. We met several times over the next few weeks, and we walked through the duties that a vet tech intern would have. One of the things we had decided together was we were going to give Marina the actual position. We weren't going to job carve. We weren't going to change it. We wanted to test her in this arena and see what her skills truly were in a professional setting. So she was going to be responsible for preparing all of the surgery packs for a sterilization process, and we were planning on having her do that. Our biggest concern was that Marina would have to learn all the various tools and be able to know which tool was used for each surgery. I don't know how much you guys know about surgical tools, but every one of those 100 scissors they use look exactly the same. But when you open the scissors up, literally, there's different kinds of serrated blades and things like that, and she had to literally learn, okay, this one is used to clamp something open. It was pretty incredible. So, I'm looking for how do we support this, right? I've heard about this new gadget, I'm showing my age, an iPad. It was brand new, first year out. And everybody was talking about, oh, this is the latest, greatest thing. And I said, okay, I'm going to get one for Christmas. This is about November. Marina was starting her internship in January. I can actually say I really wish I knew Tony Gentry, our keynote from yesterday, back then, because I think I would have got a lot more sleep. I know I probably stayed up for 3 or 4 nights straight in a row trying to figure that iPad out, trying to figure out what sources and apps that I needed to put on there in order to make it for her. It is sometimes hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But the awesome thing is I did figure it out, and I knew that the iPad would work for Marina. As soon as I got those apps on there, I saw how functional it was going to be. Within a week's time, I was able to walk Marina through a typical workday by using apps for checklists, photo streams, flashcards, and timers. I was literally able to set up her list of duties for the whole day on her iPad in a format that would just repeat every day, so that way she could check off what she had done. Finally, the day came when Marina was ready to start. So I reached out to Erin Kennedy, who was our school's transition coordinator, and shared with her what we were doing. And she was able to assign Marina a job coach to follow along for the first 2 weeks. We just happened to be in a downtime. It was like a fluke situation. And Marina's ability to use the iPad truly made a difference because the job coach was faded out within about a week and a half and just could go in and just randomly check on her. She used from that point on the iPad and just the mental support of her coworkers. Upon completion of Marina's internship, there was no longer any doubt that she could work with the proper supports, of course, but in some ways, more important to me, she was going to be able to work in a career that she loved. As a mom, can't be more proud of her. However, as a mom, I knew there was still more work to be done. And there began Marina's rest of her journey. So I'm going to turn it back over to Marina.
Thanks, Mom. I loved my internship and I knew that I wanted to work with animals someday. But as I got close to graduation time, Ms. Kennedy, my transition coordinator, wanted me to check out Project Search. I didn't want to, but my mom talked to me about it and said, let's just go and look at it. We don't have to sign up unless you want to. Once I visited the program at Del Memphis Hospital, I decided that I wanted to try it out. Because it showed me how nice the people are, and I like how I get to learn the different jobs in the hospital. Ms. Kennedy can tell you more about my experience with Project Search.
Hi there, my name is Erin Kennedy. I'm Transition Coordinator for Dublin City Schools. Marina attended Dublin Coffin High School from 2007 to 2011, primarily focusing on academics. She did participate in the band and theater her junior and senior year. She attended Hills Technical Center in the Small Animal Care Program. She earned elective credits and gained skills in this field. She also participated in the work-study program at a local animal hospital, as Dee had indicated. After attending Kaufman for 4 years and primarily concentrating on academics, the IEP team determined, as Marina had just shared, she wasn't very interested, but after really kind of talking to her, she was able to then look more into it and then apply to Project Search, which is housed at Dublin Methodist Hospital. And Dublin City Schools is very lucky. We have some options for some post-secondary programming. Project Search, for those of you that do not know, it is a one-year program that provides training and education leading to employment for individuals with disabilities. This program occurs on-site, as I said, at Dublin Methodist Hospital. Although students are immersed in the hospital setting, they are taught job skills that are transferable for the inside of the hospital as well as outside of the hospital. Marina applied and was accepted for the 11-12 school year. The team identified her strengths to include, as you can see, the ability to communicate, taking the initiative, and very willing to please. Although she is very outgoing, and also as Dee had indicated, which there are also times when she has difficulty with some of her conversational skills with coworkers and or customers. She also had difficulty remembering large items, which again, we put the iPad in place, and then at times lack confidence. These strengths and challenges would be addressed and worked on through Project Search. Marina participated in a variety of internships throughout the hospital to teach those core employability skills and experience the jobs hands-on. Through the support of the instructor and the job coach, Marina made great progress. The program also included an employability class to improve not only employability skills, but to teach some of those important daily living skills. At the end of the program, the data indicated that Marina was ready for that next step of competitive employment. Throughout Marina's programming, both academic and vocational, her skills were strengthened. But was it enough to be ready for that next step? Marina's long-term goal of college was college, therefore she focused on those academics. But as she navigated through the educational process, would it have benefited in having more of that vocational training, although she still had that college goal? But I'm really glad today, and these are the times that make my job meaningful, and know that I want to get up that next day and go back to work because I can actually see the outcome. So I am so happy to see that Marina is happy and she is gainfully employed. She's very lucky to have found an employer to be supportive of her needs and in turn allows her to work in a field that she is so passionate. I wish Marina the best of luck in her next pursuit of college because I know that she will do well in anything that she really enjoys.
graduated from Project Search, I had a full-time job at Doctor's Hospital. This was my first paying job. It was cool to have all that money. But there were big problems. The first problem was that my mom had to drive me to and from work every day because I couldn't drive. The bus route was 2 hours each way from our house. This was frustrating for my mom because she had to cancel her own clients to have time to do this every day. There were also a lot of accidents on the highway, and sometimes it took her an hour to come pick me up and an hour to get home. I really liked the people I worked with, but much of my money went towards paying for gas and bills, and I didn't enjoy the job that I had. I often come home and feel sad. I was responsible for cleaning rooms for patients, and I was bored because I knew I could do more than just clean. I talked to my mom about this a lot. Finally, my mom told me that I was too young to be miserable at work. She told me when I'm 40 years old and I had kids, I need to work to pay the bills. But when I'm 20 years old, I should work at a job that I enjoyed. I also knew that I wanted to go to college to be a vet tech. And it would be too hard if I was working a full-time job so far away from home. She helped me write my 2-week notice, and she and I began looking for other options. The first thing we did was reopen my case with BVR. We talked with my caseworker about my problems with my last job, how I wanted to work with animals and be closer to home. Also, I wanted to learn how to drive. My mom hired a private instructor who worked with me 3 days a week for about 6 months to learn the basics of driving. That's a picture of my instructor and I. It was actually in the newspaper about driving. I was able to pass my driver's license test, but my mom and the instructor knew I needed more help. Through PVR, I was able to work with an OT driver instructor. He helped me learn the basics of how to be a safer driver. I also knew that there were some things I'm still not good at when I drive. For instance, I'm not the best judge of the speed of traffic coming towards me, so I need to be on roads that have stop signs or traffic lights for any left-hand turns. I also get really nervous on the highway, so I prefer to drive on roads that are less than 50 miles per hour. Those kind of things are important for me to be aware of, so that I can still drive, but also know that I'm not putting myself or anyone else in danger. Through BVR, I was given time to work with a job developer. She helped me fill out applications for positions and took me on several interviews. She was amazing and really listened when I told her I wanted to work with animals. I wanted to be somewhere that I could drive to work alone. After a few interviews, Christian and I went to one at Camp Bow Wow in Hilliard. When the staff walked me around, I knew I'd like to work here. It's a job that allowed me to work with dogs each day. They were really nice and asked me questions that made me feel as though they understood me. I got the phone call saying that they wanted to hire me. I was so excited. My job coach, John Cole, is here today to talk about my first few weeks at Camp Bow Wow.
Hi, I'm John Cole. I'm a job coach. I was with Greenleaf Job Training Services, which is a private firm locally in Columbus. I had the honor of meeting Marina first when she was in orientation for her job at the hospital. And after the wealth of everybody, putting all their efforts into getting to this position, the one thing I noticed in the 2 days we spent together, we first went through 100 different positions. They hired 100 people there, and everybody's position got identified, talked about, and Marina sat through that with me. And the next day we did computer-based learning modules together, which can be a challenge at the best of times. But the big thing I noticed about Marina was she was the happiest when she found out that someone she'd gone through Project Search with was also participating and sat at our table with us, and that we had great lunches both days. Other than that, I was concerned, but I didn't get to follow up on her. I was with her the 2 days of orientation, and I didn't do any follow-up coaching with her. And it wasn't for 10 months until this last April that I actually met Marina again, finding out that she's going to be a camp counselor at Camp Bow Wow in Hilliard, and then I got to be her job coach. So I go there with some fear and trepidation, because I knew she wasn't real happy the last time, but we'd gotten along very well, so I was confident that we'd do all right. But I come in to meet this young lady that's got all the challenges of a new job ahead of her. In addition, she's just learning to drive and has the expectation she's going to be taking herself back and forth to work. and she greets me with the biggest smile I've ever seen. And I think, if you know, she smiles most of the time. She's an incredibly enthusiastic young lady, usually smiling, and she took to this job like a duck to water. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Not only did the job suit her, the animals loved her, the staff worked with her and accommodated her. As a coach, there were a few glitches going along, but nothing too significant. We worked through them. The thing that concerned me the most was very early on, Adam, her employer, said she didn't need a coach anymore. Well, I have responsibilities not only to Marina, who's my main concern, but to my employer, and to Adam. They don't realize all the dynamics that go on in a new hire. We have, a honeymoon period. Everybody's on the best behavior in a new employer, new relationship, until they start to learn something, and, a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous. And then real life kicks in, and sometimes there's some glitches and some problems show up. The other thing that we had is, of course, that, she was willing to drive. You have no idea how far I was the first day I saw her come without mom having to follow her. And show up at work successfully, and within 10 or 15 attempts get into a parking space correctly. But it's a joy, and I was almost as proud as mom was. But the other thing that happens is that when you're in a supervisory or an assisting role, people behave differently. Well, not only did Marina behave differently, because I'm there and she's always looking over her shoulder to see whether I'm looking happy about what she's doing or not doing, but the employers there, they're doing the same thing. But in this setting, we had sometimes up to 40 or 50 dogs doing the same thing. And they're very vocal. And I think that was, as much as anything, one of the reasons behind Adam saying, we really don't need a coach, because the place would go crazy when I go back to be with Marina. And it made Marina's job more difficult, because you might trying to get back to where the area she was working in. Usually a dog or two would get loose, and she'd have to go chase them up and down from the causeways and get them back into the area where we were working. But it turns out, as you heard yesterday, if you were here for the technology session, technology is a wonderful thing, and it helped with my coaching. They had closed circuit TV at Camp Bow Wow. And not only can you look into each area where the dogs are being worked or being cared for, you can actually, the staff can make some areas larger for you. So I got to stand outside where I didn't influence Marina. She didn't even know I was there some of the times until it was all over. The dogs didn't know I was there. The other staff didn't know I was there. So I could see how things were really going from standing by a screen and watching it. That was a godsend. It worked out marvelous. When I didn't know, I'd worked at a facility similar before, but not this one. So my job, as much as anything, is to learn things a little quicker than Marina did, so that I was there to be able to give constructive advice. But whenever a question came up where I was seeing some behavior that I was concerned about, I could go and talk to Adam. And if it was something that was a legitimate concern, then I could talk to Marina about it. I could go and work with Marina when necessary. But I could stay out of the way more and more of the time. It was fading without fading. If any of you have ever been in that position where you have to be a job coach and you try to watch what's going on with the person you're working with without being seen, then you don't look everywhere to see. And this couldn't happen. It was a detached thing. I was present but not present. I could give assistance when it was needed, and I could back out as it was needed. And the results are Marina. Happy, successful Camp Bow Wow counselor. Adam and his ongoing successful business. Dee, a continuing cooperative and proud parent, very supportive. And myself, the job coach who worked himself out of a job as part of a team helping Marina realize her goals and potential. Thank you.
also here today with me. I'd like to share about why he hired me and how I'm doing as an employee.
Hi, my name's Adam. I am Miranda's manager at Camp Powell. When we were looking to start to hire a few new employees, Miranda's application kept popping up to us. It was very well done, and to be honest, the only thing holding us back was the disability. We work with dogs that range from 5 pounds to 150 pounds that are all playing together. Since we didn't know exactly what her disability was, we decided to bring her in and give her an interview just like everybody else. During the interview process, Miranda was very honest with us about her abilities. She had numerous documents of recommendation, and she had been to school at Tolles. She had wide open availability, which is always nice. After the interview, we decided that her disability was something we could work around by just having her work with the little dogs, 5 pounds to 40 pounds, and only be in the yards. Our initial concerns were her reaction time to a scruffle. They are dogs, they will get into fights here and there, and understanding and learning the dog's behavior. After her first day of training, she proved that she could handle the small dogs without question. After about her second or third day working with us, I did tell her dog coach he didn't need to come back. She caught on fast, she knew what she was doing, I had no issues with her. Then a couple weeks later, some concerns started arising again. She started to ask if she could be with the big dogs. Going from 40-pound dogs to 41 to 150-pound dogs is a big jump. I'll admit, I was nervous. We were slow one day with not a lot of big dogs, so I told her, go ahead and jump in. She did amazing and hasn't looked back since. She will be the first to jump in and break the scuffle, and she has no fear out there. I have now started bringing her in for the opening shift with me. That means she's there at 6:30 in the morning. She usually beats me to work. And has a lot more responsibility. She has to let her own row of dogs out, clean up any messes they made overnight, feed them breakfast, and put them back in the correct cabins. She then has the task of going around and changing all the water bowls, making the dogs' next meals, and even giving medications. I have zero worries with her doing any of these things, since I know if she has questions, she will ask me. Hiring Miranda has changed my views on hiring someone with a disability. I am now a firm believer that just because they have a disability, there is a job out there for them somewhere. You just have to give them a chance. It may take them a little longer to learn the job than someone without a disability, or they could be like Miranda and learn it quicker than people without a disability. A couple side notes. I hope you're still working with us when you master that right-hand turn in your apartment inside this parking lot with all of us. She did drive through her first snowstorm in the middle of October already, and you worked from 1:30 to 7 tonight.
That's why I love working with him, his personality. He's a great person. Last month I found out how lucky I am. I had to have emergency surgery. It's everyone's worst fear. It's made worse if you're employed with a disability. We always wonder whether our boss will understand. I love my job and I don't miss one single day of work. When my mom called Adam to fill him in on what happened, he said that my priority was to take care of my health. When my mom told him that he needed another surgery in a few months, so he would be gone 3 to 4 weeks, Adam made me feel as though I was truly part of his employment family by reminding me that my job is still going to be there. You need to know that I love my job at Camp Powell so much that I went back to work the day after I got released from the hospital. It's amazing when you love your job like I do. I'm so fortunate it's because I had the right team working with me through the years. I found the right employer and kept the right attitude. I'm capable of doing meaningful work in my community that uses my unique skills. Thank you for letting me share my story with you today. Hopefully each of you know that you can make a difference for someone else. Thank you for all that you do to make the dream of working a reality for so many people.
Last night I was looking for one final picture that I wanted to put in the slideshow, and I went downstairs and when I was looking, I found 2 portfolio books. that we have created through the years, especially middle school and high school for Marina, that actually encapsulate perfectly everything that's in her presentation. We've been very open and honest from day one about her disability. We've been open and honest about her previous environment because we feel that her story does empower because she's overcome that. And so if you choose to and would like to, we've actually put those portfolios out on the ASCII table in the vendor lounge. And it's just a wonderful progression of her journey in her words through the last several years. So I'm going to turn it back over to Laura.
Wow, again, such a powerful story, such a great story. You know, I hope that in like 5 years, that would be my dream, that we wouldn't have to say, wow, isn't this fantastic, people with disabilities get a job. That, you know, at some point that it is just what we do. That, you know, employment for people with disabilities is an expectation and it's what we do and what we expect from people. I would like to bring Matt and Marina back up on stage, if you wouldn't mind, and give them another huge round of applause because speaking in front of a large audience is phenomenal. So come on up, please. Everybody in this room that makes a difference, but I think these two young people made a difference in my life today, and hopefully they made a difference in your life today as well, because I really feel like your stories are so incredibly powerful, and we need to talk more about these stories and about the successes that individuals have, and also, of course, the employer, because we can't forget about you guys. Because without the employers saying, yes, I see potential in this individual, that is so, so incredible. So we want to open it up for questions now, because I really want people to ask questions, and if you don't ask questions, I will ask questions, because I think that we need to learn more and hear more. So I'm going to have you guys sit up here, if that's okay. So, and then also the employer, if you don't mind, would you mind coming back up? I know I did not prep him on this one, so. So I'd like to open it up for some questions from the audience, and I'm not sure, just shout it out if you have a question. Yes?
As an employer, how do you deal with other coworkers that may harass or make fun of?
Honestly, we haven't had to deal with it.
I run into tax.
From pretty much the beginning, you know, she kept using the word family, which is I happen to have that surgery. We really are a family. You know, we have parties, all of us to come, you know, get together and everything. And I don't think you've had to deal with anything, have you? So yeah, we haven't had to deal with it. We have a really good, close group of employees.
I know you all have questions on this.
For Matt, what was the process of learning to drive for you?
I would say the scary part is just getting behind the wheel first. Just trying to understand all the laws and the restrictions and everything, just understanding it all and knowing that I can pass the test. And I was scared to death, I can say. Not failing that test and getting them. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to steal her car. I mean, the best way I can explain it is, I thought I could do it, but I was unsure. But as I progressed in my life, I learned that I could do it. And, I mean, it was a scary journey, but I managed to do it. I hope that answers your question the best I can.
Did you have some supports kind of helping you, or was it you just went into the task and started driving?
It was kind of, I went to, my parents got me to a driving academy. It was just like a mile down the road from where I live. And So I went through the driving academy first, and that's what they really helped me to drive more, better than what I could probably did without a driving academy.
When you were, this question is for both of us, when you guys were in school, in high school, did you think about driving then? Did you think about having a job then? Because other people that were in other classes, I'm sure, you know, teachers were talking to them probably about, you know, what are you going to do when you graduate? Or do you think about driving? You know, people begin to think about driving with education. Did you guys think about that? Or did your family talk about it?
I really didn't think about driving. I knew in high school I knew I wanted to go to college, but driving never crossed my mind until my mom and I started about me possibly getting a job, and her and I talked about driving, but in high school it was mostly focused on education and learning employment skills that I needed to keep a job.
I would say I probably wanted to drive to high school when I was in school, but I think my worries were just getting through school. I don't think I really had a desire at that time to worry about getting a job or anything. I mean, I think I thought about it, but I didn't really think of it too much.
I focused on my strengths, like what I love to do. I love working with animals. So people who don't know what they do, focus on what they like. Like they like working with people one-on-one, they like working behind the scenes. That's what I did. I focused on things I love to find a job that I'm good at.
I would say just tell them to find their weaknesses, even if it is weak, don't be ashamed of it, and work on to strengthen your skills. And know that you have a support team behind you to get you through those difficult times, and you can do anything if you put your mind to it.
I'm wondering, and I don't know where you live, and I don't know Ohio well enough to say, but would you be willing to come to places to talk about your stories and sort of help people with disabilities who may not think that they can work in the community? Schools?
I'd be willing to do it if it inspires kids with disabilities to go out there and find what they like. Because it's hard for us. I mean, we always focus on the positive, but we have weaknesses that we like to work with, and it's nice to know that we have a support team behind us, helping us all the way, and finding the right employer that's willing to work with our job coaches and with our disabilities. I would be fine with it.
I would really love to do something like that one day. I mean, because I love seeing how different people work differently. And working with people with disabilities, I can tell you, I would have worked with somebody sometimes that has a disability. Because I hear the truth, other people sometimes aren't as nice. I'm not speaking on anybody, but you know what I mean.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, you may.
When you guys are working around, you know, people in your employment and in work, do you find that people ask you about your disability, or do you bring those things up? Does that cross your mind when you're working with your coworkers?
I'm going to repeat the question just so everybody can hear way back in the corner. We only have one microphone, right? You run it around. So the question is, when you're on your job, do you talk to other people, your coworkers and supervisors, about your disability and about your weaknesses as well as your challenges to help them understand, correct?
Right, or even not even to, I'm just curious, does it come into their mind.
Oh, does it come into your mind?
Because
Okay,
sometimes when we work, you know, sometimes we have weaknesses, anybody.
right,
You know, they may share things or feel fearful or doubtful.
okay, yeah. So do you feel fearful or do, you know, because like you all both said earlier, like she's saying, is we all have disabilities, right? We all have weaknesses. So do you share that? Are you afraid to talk about it?
If you have a disability, you shouldn't be afraid to share it, like hold it back, but if they don't bring it up, because some disabilities you can't see, like his and I, you can't tell we have a disability, we look like normal people. But if they bring it up because they kind of notice it in your speech, then you can mention it. But if they don't bring it up, you can if you want to, it's your own will.
I'd say sometimes I talk about my disability, but I mean, if it only is affecting the job that I'm doing, like I'm a terrible, terrible speller. And if I'm at the host stand, I'm like, I didn't take his name, so you want to put it in for me? And I had a coworker the other night said, well, it's not that hard, I don't spell good, I just put it in. I said, yeah, but to me, I don't want to put something wrong. I said, but when I'm up there or something, I said, we got these walkie-talkies. Just tell me, because I said, my disability on this is, I just need you to communicate with me because I can communicate better in voice than on paper. And so I guess you could kind of say I show my disability, but sometimes you wouldn't even notice it because I am. If you ask the servers when I walk in the door, they're like, are you our salad maker tonight? And I'm like, yes, I am. They're like, yes. Because they know that I'm going to work side by side with them even if I get frustrated. And I will commit to getting them help as much as I do my job at the same time because I've learned how not to get so frustrated because I can have like 10 tickets ring in for salad at one time and helping my coworker. Actually, I just shared this real fast. Mama is what we call her, but she lives in the restaurant, and that's what we just, her real name is Stephanie, we call her Mama. I worked with her since I started at Olive Garden. I worked with her, and she showed me how to be an expediter, pulling food out from the table, how to take to-go orders, and because of her, she's also strengthened my disabilities. It's something I never, ever thought I was able to do. But she proved me wrong, and I can now do what she does, and I can help her out, and she's backed up, and she helped me back when I'm backed up.
I'll just kind of talk as far as Raina here. It wasn't actually until about 2 weeks ago that I learned the full extent of her past. I didn't even know you weren't her real mom until I read that. But I was happy to know through talking to other employees that she embraces it. She's not afraid to talk about it. Employees knew more than I did because she was open. She would talk to them. And I think everybody at work loves her. Corey was telling me the other day you guys were talking politics. You know, like, she wasn't afraid to talk to let people know what they were, her disabilities, and what, you know, the story behind them. So she really embraces it.
Did I understand that Matt lives on his own, and one of his biggest challenges, and does Marina plan on being on her own sometime?
No, I got it. I'm just trying to think of my head. I certainly do not live on my own. Just because of my income. I mean, I wish I did, but in a way I wish I don't because I'd be pretty lonely without somebody to communicate with. But that is one of my things I hope I can do one day.
My mom and I talked about it. I do plan to live on my own. But I like living at home because I can help with my brother and everything else. So it's in the future for me to move out, live somewhere close to home, but that's our goal, is for me to live on my own.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that we concern ourselves with is people being integrated in the community and making friends and things like that at work. And I'm just wondering, you guys have a lot of friends at work, if you
come close to like my employer and some of the people at work. And like you said, we throw parties. I hang out, talk with them. It's really nice to have a small group of people that you work with because you get to know them a little bit better and know what they want to do and everything else. So yeah, there's some people that I hang out with, talk sometimes with a lot.
Oh, sorry. I mean, the friends at work that I had, like I said, was being mama. I have a friend that was, she transferred from Columbus Olive Garden to our restaurant, and now she's becoming a manager for our restaurant that I'm real good friends with. She's really been my back support. Of course, mama, she's always been there for me. I mean, without her, I don't think I'd still work there today. I mean, just because her relates so much to some of the stress in the restaurant and stuff like that. Tough situations she gets me through. I've had some good friends at the Olive Garden, but they've now moved on to better things, and I'm keeping in communication with them. But I would say I love having that small group inside work in that small branch of MRDD outside of work to support me and come in if I need it.
Yes, you may. I can't stop her, so I have.
Well, I think this is really important because that was one of my biggest concerns, is her having friends in the work environment. But one of the things that we've also tried to do, and I strongly encourage you as you connect with the people that you're working with, is they also need to be connected to the community, not just the women. None of us only have friends at work. We also have friends in the community that we go hang out with, or go to a movie with, or call when we're upset. For our case, Rena's had the same boyfriend, scarily enough, for almost 2 years. So they do things together. Her best friend was in the soccer picture with her, all covered in mud from 3rd grade. They're still best friends. So they get together, and we actually do a trip every year together. She also, we've gotten into a lot of post-secondary type of community activities. Coppernom, which is a Christian form of young life for young adults with disabilities, connects them with typical peers locally. And so she does that once a month. She's involved in the Best Buddies program, which is run for OSU, where she's connected with a college student, and they do monthly, twice a month, events together to build relationships. So as important it is to build those relationships in the work environment, as best as you can guide whoever you're working with to tap into the community, that's truly where it is, because ultimately, although we all love working for Adam, if she goes to school to be a vet tech, we want her employed as a vet tech, so she's going to leave that employment arena. So she's still going to have... So ultimately, her goal is to keep moving on. I mean, that's our goal for all of ourselves, so why wouldn't we expect the same thing for them? So it is important for her to have relationships outside of that work situation as well. So I just wanted to say that we've got to do that. Whatever those interests are, or if there's other opportunities like the best written programs, things like that, it is really important to tap into those as well.
Other questions? Yes.
Also, I'd like to share a little story about the Employment Services Club, RDD Employment Services Division. We also have what we call Employment Services Club, and we have approximately 80 individuals that are working out in the community at different type jobs. Matt goes to the Employment Services Club. They meet about once a month. Tomorrow they're actually going to Fort Wayne, Indiana for Christmas shopping. They go to Christmas shopping. They go to the casino once a year. They take a group of them to the casino. Do you go to the casino? Okay. They go. They have dinner and movie where one night they'll go to a restaurant, and then they'll go to a movie afterwards. So they get a lot of interaction with a lot of the other individuals that have a disability, but they're able to, draw on all those other people. And I think how many are going tomorrow? There's 30 individuals going tomorrow, going to go Christmas shopping. They'll be going all day. And the casino trip is another big thing. They go to go down to Cincinnati Reds ball game. So it does give them another outlet for to meet other people. And that's just something that we try to do over there.
I didn't think you would be a gambler, given that you're so cheap. Yes, okay, I'm gonna, can you shout or speak?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yesterday we heard Tony talk a lot about the assistive technologies, and Marina, I believe you used an iPad or an iPod Touch as you came through this. How important was that to you, and what role does that still play today?
I use my iPad a lot. We actually have some stuff for college set up, some apps that I have on there that I can use for colleges. It's really important because it helps me be independent from my coworkers. So you put like my jobs on there and I can check it off one by one. Pictures, everything that I need to memorize is all there, and it's really nice because I can carry it around with me and share it with sometimes, even when I was doing internship, share it with people there that's hardly seen it before. Explain it to them and how it works. It's really nice. You can do docs to go. You can do everything. You can do flashcards on there. It's really important to have it in your environment because it helps you with your to-do list, checklist, pictures, whatever you need. It's all in one little area that we don't have to bring flashcards into work and worry about then getting one.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I think technology kind of levels the playing field for people with disabilities.
Can I just add on to that? At this,
I know you're a teacher, but you...
I can just speak a little bit to that at the school level. We, of course, use the technology, the iPads and the iPods, but the hope is that it is that foundation piece. Through the assistance of the job coach and of that technology, that either the job coach fades out, the assistive technology continues, or in most cases, we would want to even fade that technology piece out. Because think of Marina's job, and even at the hospital, the iPads are used quite a bit, but they're typically all hands-on types of jobs. So the ultimate goal, hopefully, would be that if a student is able to, that they would eventually then be able to fade that out as well. So even though it is very important, we also want to use it as a fade-out piece.
And I'm loud enough. Marina actually does not use technology where we're at now. So she's been able to completely fade out the technology where she's at and working.
Other questions? All right, I have a question. All right, my question is, I'm going to ask each one of you this thing. Okay, so first with employers, what advice would you have for the group on how to help employers understand that they can and should open the doors to employment for people with disabilities? And how do we make that sort of the normal best practice for employers? Putting you on the spot.
I don't know. I like to think a lot of it was the way I was raised. I've always had an open mind. So, like I said in my speech, I'm a firm believer that there's a job out there for everybody. You just gotta find the right job, something you love to do. My parents actually started the business. I was working a 9-to-5 desk job on a computer, hated it. So, I love dogs, I love my family. It made sense to go work for them. So, I don't know, just hopefully, eventually it's not considered disability. Eventually we can all just get along. So.
So do you do any outreach with other employers? For yourself? Do you talk about it at other places?
No,
Could we use you to go and talk to other employers? All right, there you go, there you have it. All right, and then for Matt and Marina, what advice do you have for the audience to help other people with disabilities be as self-determined as you are, and to look at their life as not just this one job and that's it, but to move on to careers?
For me, what I did is, since I love working with animals, I want to make a career out of it. Like, I want to go to college to be a vet tech and make a career out of it. But it's finding my interest and what I wanted to make a career out of. Like, what you want to go to college to be. Find jobs that go with what you want to go to college to be. Like, if you want to be a vet tech or work with animals in a different field, doing jobs in that area that will help when you go to college, being prepared.
I would say, for me at first, my obstacle was becoming a chef was going to take some work, but I mean, a person with a disability, you need to look at your disabilities and learn how to overcome your obstacles, see where your weaknesses is, get the help you need to fix whatever you're slowing you down. Don't think it's slowing you down. Work on it and you will get there. Maybe a long road, but one of these days you will get there and your disability can get better. And if you're an employer, don't forget, they can get there. It may take more time than others, but working with somebody with a disability, it can be so beneficial. And that person with a disability, to have a positive attitude over a negative attitude about what their disability is and overcome that is going to help you so much in life.
Don't be afraid to hire people with disabilities. I mean, it might be scary if you find out that they have a disability, but they can learn like other people with the right support. So don't be afraid to hire them, because if you find out they have a disability, sometimes you don't want to hire them. But be open-minded like admins, and don't be afraid to take that next step forward and be the first person to hire a person with a disability. It will change your mind forever. Oh, here comes my mom again.
As you just saw, we truly have that love-hate mother-daughter relationship. I also wanted to say, because I heard something yesterday that was a little perplexing to me, that so-and-so is dreaming to be X, okay? Marina had a dream. What did you originally want to be? No. What did you originally want to be before that? A veterinarian, correct? Wasn't that the first conversation? This was probably middle school level. This was a child who was having trouble adding 1 + 1 without a manipulative. So the reality was, we weren't going to be a vet. So how do you take that dream from somebody? Because it is a dream, right? We don't want to do that. So what we did is we sat down and we talked about all the responsibilities that a vet had. I just gave her a life lesson. And the final thing that kind of summed it up for her is I said, okay, you love animals, somebody brings in a dog, and it's just been hit by a car. You need to give it 20 cc's of this particular drug for every 30 pounds that it weighs, and it weighs 150 pounds. How much do you give it? She went, huh? And I said, dog's dying. How much do you give it? And she went, I don't know. I said, and I said, okay, would you even want to be in that position? And she said, no. And I said, a vet has to do that. And I said, let's look at the other things that a vet has to do. So we really looked and explored the career to help her identify that that skill set was not a skill set, A, that she had, or B, that she really wanted to have. And so then we said, but you love animals, so what do you want to do? So then she wanted to be a dog groomer. And when she went to Tulsa Career and Technical Center, that was the goal there. Because like us, our goals change, theirs do too. So hers changed and she wanted to be a dog groomer, and we went in there. And that went okay, but the reality was, if you brought in a dog with a specific cut that you wanted, because of the cognitive delay, she may not understand what you want, and you as a client might configure your dog and go, it looks like a cat. We didn't want that either, so we started exploring opportunities. So that tech internship when we got finished with that, Becky Marsh, who hired her, actually came out and said, she needs to be a vet tech. She can do it all. And I said, they have to measure medicine, which is the example I gave her for the vet, right? And she goes, we use calculators. That's what she said to me. This is someone who has worked with my daughter for 6 months and said, there's a way around this. And so Marina latched onto that and said, I'm going to be a vet tech, and that's our goal. I mean, we know that she is going to go to college. Now we're holding off because she does need to have the second surgery. But my point is, if they have a dream, tap into what that dream really is. Don't tell them they can't do it. Find out what piece of it is realistic, and let them move towards it. You gave a perfect example when we came down and said that, and you're going to have to refresh my memory, when we came down from the training last week, about someone who was saying they wanted this job, and it was actually that they liked doing this one piece of the job. And once you got him in that place, he was perfect, but he kept getting fired before that. And I'll let her explain that story because I don't remember all of it. It's been a week. But my thing is, don't tell them their dream isn't real. And don't tell them that they can't accomplish. What you do is you figure out how you can make their dream something that's real on their level. And so that's what we've done. And as Adam pointed out and everybody else, she's always got a smile on her face, so she's happy. Because in her mind, she's living her dream. And that's all, as a parent, I want for her. So don't shut them out. Just find out if you can shift that dream a little bit by tuning them into the reality of things. And I'm going to let you share that story because I think it was a powerful one.
Right. And the story kind of relates because Matt's learning French. So, right? In culinary school? A little bit, right? So the story was a young man that I worked with. His name was Digby, and he had worked as a dishwasher, and he lost 7 dishwashing positions in a 2-year period. And so he came to us as sort of the last resort. This is who's going to help you, and how are you going to do this? And so I said, okay, Digby, what are you interested in? What would you like to do? And he said, oh, dishwashing. And I said, well, 2 years, 7 jobs as a dishwasher, maybe you want to think about something different. And he's like, no, I've been told dishwashing. And I said, well, what do you really like to do? What is your passion? What gets you up in the morning? And he said, those people who call you at night during dinner time and ask you a bunch of questions? And at first I didn't know what he was talking about, then I realized it was telemarketers. I was like, oh my gosh, so it turns out at the group home he was a telemarketer's nightmare because he would have conversations with them and they came up on him. So Digby was a person who was considered a non-reader. He was illiterate. He had some physical issues, so fine motor skills, writing wasn't something. And this was about 15 years ago, so we weren't so technology savvy as we are today. So anyway, we helped him get a job at a marketing research firm where he had to answer phones and he had to read the script and he had to fill out the information. And we accommodated for him. And he memorized the scripts. Every day they said, we'll just have him do 2. He memorized the scripts. And then we adapted the form that he had to fill out. And then guess what? Everybody else said, we want that form. It's a whole lot easier than the form you're making us fill out. So that form was now for everybody. And he worked there for 14 years. So 2 years of 7 different dishwashing positions versus 14 years at a job that he really, really liked. Now, he had some skills coming in, but he didn't have a whole lot. He didn't have everything. But he wanted to do it. It's the passion. It's the dream. It's what he was really passionate about. And I really believe that. I believe exactly what Dee said, that we can teach anybody to do anything as long as they're interested in it. If Matt wasn't interested in culinary school, he wasn't interested in that, we wouldn't be successful. We'd have to find something that he's really passionate about. Because we all want to love what we do. And everybody in here loves what they do, right? Because we're certainly not in it for the money, right? so we really, really have to pick up on that passion. So that's exactly right. And I just want to, again, thank the panel because this was a last minute thing because I was looking at the time going, wow, we have a lot of time left. So I thank Adam because I just threw him up here and didn't tell him I was going to do this. I really thank Matt and Marina for telling their stories and sharing their stories. And I hope that during the break that you guys have an opportunity to maybe talk and mingle a little bit. And just remember that both of them said they would love to talk to groups of young people with disabilities. And I think that's really powerful. And if we can get young people with disabilities to talk to other young people, that makes all the difference in the world. Because as a mom, you can talk until you're blue in the face. as an employment consultant, I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but really the power lies with our young adults who are doing the dream. So, any last comments from anybody? All right, so I guess take a break and then come back.